Story time. My husband's assistant sent me a photo of them kissing on a beach. Then she texted, "He says you are only staying in the marriage because you are afraid to start over." I didn't call my husband. I didn't reply her. Instead, I made one decision that meant everyone at his office would know exactly who she was by 9 a.m. It was almost midnight when the message arrived. I was still at work finishing a project. The photo showed my husband, Daniel, standing waist deep in the ocean with his assistant, Lauren, wrapped around him. They looked happy, not guilty, not nervous, happy. Then I read the message again. She said Daniel had taken her on a private trip to Miami and told her our marriage was already over emotionally. Apparently, I just hadn't accepted it yet. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I noticed something. The photo had been taken inside the hotel Daniel had told me he was visiting for a work conference. Suddenly, the last 6 months made sense. The late meetings, the weekends he supposedly had to work, the new password on his phone, the business trips that somehow never appeared on his calendar. And every time I questioned him, he made me feel guilty. You are becoming paranoid. I'm exhausted, Olivia. You know how demanding my job is. I believed him because sometimes the person lying to you doesn't have to convince you of a new story. They just have to make you doubt your own. Lawrence's message changed that. I didn't need another explanation. I had the evidence. I was going to make sure I protected myself before confronting either of them. So I spent the rest of the night doing something Daniel would never have expected. I contacted a lawyer, then my bank, then HR, because there was one thing that Lauren didn't know. I saved everything: the photograph, a message, the timestamp, the hotel details visible in the background. Then I forwarded the entire conversation to my personal email. I wasn't going to expose her because I was jealous. I wasn't going to humiliate my husband because I was angry. I was going to make sure I protected myself before confronting either of them. By 6 a.m., I had made copies of every relevant document. At 7:15, I walked into the office. Lauren was already there. She looked at me and smiled. "Morning, Olivia." I smiled back. "Morning." She had no idea I had spent the night preparing. I went to my desk, opened my laptop, and sent one email, not to Daniel, not to Lauren, to the company's ethics and compliance department. Attached were the messages, the photograph and documentation showing that Daniel had been billing some of his supposedly business travel expenses to the company. That was when things got complicated. The company investigated. The Miami trip wasn't a business trip. Neither were several others. Daniel had been submitting expenses for hotels, meals, and transportation while telling the company he was meeting clients. Lauren had apparently helped arrange some of the bookings. By lunchtime, Daniel was called into a meeting. By 2 p.m., his company access had been suspended, and by 4 p.m., Lauren was sitting across the HR explaining why she had been involved. I never put up a single photograph around the office. The truth did the work for me. Daniel called me that evening. "You ruined my career." I almost laughed. "No, Daniel, you did." He said I should have handled our marriage privately. I reminded him that I had. For 6 months, he lied privately, cheated privately, and used company money privately. The investigation simply made his private decisions public. Lawrence stopped contacting me. Daniel moved out 2 weeks later. Our divorce was finalized months afterward. People sometimes asked me why I didn't confront him immediately after seeing that photograph. Because anger wants revenge. Clarity wants evidence. When someone has spent months convincing you that you are imagining things, the best revenge isn't screaming. It's becoming impossible for them to lie about you anymore. If you were the wife, would you do such a thing to your husband? Tell me your opinion in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and follow for more stories.